Milkman by Anna Barnes. 3 out of 5 stars. As many of you know, Milkman was the winner of the Man Booker Prize in 2018, and I completely see why. The first line is one of the most gripping first lines I've ever read. And it says, "The day somebody put a gun to my breast and called me a cat and threatened to shoot me was the same day the milkman died." So straight away you're transported to this scene, and you're in the middle kind of it, even though we go back in time. So I really compared this book to a roller coaster, which I think a lot of books are like, but this one is a bit different because normally you go up the roller coaster and that's like the first 100 pages of a book where you go up and everyone's kind of slow and you're trying to see where you are and gauge how much you like something. Then you're on top and then you go down. And that's kind of like the middle end of every book where you've got this case and you're trying to figure out what's going on, and then you've got a cool ending. This book was going down, so the first thing was really good. Then it was going up and then down again. Although it wasn't an exciting down, it was more of a like a medium slope. So things that I loved about this book. The first 60 pages, amazing. Started off with that great first sentence. I was really excited. You're reading about this small community, and out of context, you can tell that we are set in Northern Ireland in the late 1970s, and we're set in this small community. And this girl, whose name we don't know, is an 18-year-old girl, and she kind of explains why near the end of the book, but she doesn't really talk much about herself. She doesn't answer questions when other people ask her. She doesn't ask questions herself. She kind of doesn't really want to make conversation with many people. And she does this because, as the back of the book says, being interested is dangerous. So she thinks that if she doesn't engage with people in her community, then she'll escape from the rumors going on in this community. And I really like books like that. I really like when there's a small community, everyone knows each other, and there's kind of this secret. In this book, I guess the secret, not for the readers, but for the community, was that girl's life. So she kind of hesitates to tell anything about herself so that there are no rumors spread about her. But as a result, there are actually more rumors about her because whatever she doesn't tell people, they make up themselves. So they kind of have this narrative of what her life is, even though it's really far away from what it actually is. So I really like the setting of the book. Again, as I said, small community, rumors, everyone knows each other, but do they actually? Another thing that I really like, which makes this book really different from others that I've read anyway, is that nothing and no one is named. So we don't know that it's Northern Ireland, or we're not told specifically that it's Northern Ireland. But you can figure it out. And similarly, we don't really know anyone's name, so we don't know the main character's name. We don't know the milkman's name. Everyone, like, for example, in the first sentence of the book, it's somebody marks somebody. We don't actually know his full name. It's the main character's maybe boyfriend. It's the main character's longest friend. It's the character's eldest sister, littlest sister, brother-in-law. We don't ever find out anyone's names. And that's what I really liked about this book. It was really different. I really liked it. I didn't think it was confusing. What was confusing and what made me be a bit about this book was the fact that, first of all, the chapters are extremely long. For me, anyway, with my apparently short attention span. But the book has about 350 pages and there are 7 chapters. And each chapter is basically just one paragraph. It's so hard to know when to stop, because when you stop reading, you kind of have to stop halfway through a paragraph. And then it's really hard to pick up because you stopped in the middle of an action. Although I wouldn't say that the book has a lot of really riveting actions, you know. It's more of a storytelling. There are a lot of going back and forward. There are not a lot of dialogues. And if there are, for example, I don't know, 205, 7 exchanges between characters. And then we kind of get this backstory of the situation that they're going or that they're talking about right now for the next 5 pages, you know, it just goes back. And there are a lot of time frames. But for me personally, it wasn't really that easy to keep up with those time frames. Because it wasn't like, you know, one chapter is currently, another chapter is going back 5 years. It was kind of all intertwined in those long paragraphs with not really a lot of dialogue. And apart from the paragraphs being really long, the sentences, most of them were really long as well. So long sentences with lots of commas, you know, they would go on and on and on and on about for, you know, good few lines. So it was just really hard to read it for me. And I think it would be best read if you could dedicate, you know, quite a bit of time to just get through each chapter at a time, because I found that if I stopped, then it was really hard for me to pick it up, because I did have to pick up like kind of halfway through something happening or like, you know, halfway through a story. So it's just really hard to pick it up. But then at the same time, I found it really tiring to read it for a long amount of time at one time. So yeah, I really enjoyed the first 60 pages and I really enjoyed the last 150 pages. The middle of it, I really, really struggled with. And kind of the beginning and the end didn't really make it for me to give this book more than 3 stars. And that's my rapid review of Milkman by Anna Barnes. Thank you.